Hey guys, it's Shannon here from Bitcoin Bankers, and look, I uploaded a video before, but the sound quality was playing up. It may have been the cable that I was using. So I'm just going to get to a few things, but before I do, I'm just going to pause. Okay, so as I was saying, I put up a video before, and the sound quality wasn't so good. It was that cable you see sitting in the background there. So anyway, this is basically a message for all the average crypto buyers that are around, okay? Recently we've seen sort of markets really sort of come down a lot. They start to recover, they come down again. Recently there was a bit of an attack on Neo with Fudd, and that was perpetrated by some people in the Bitcoin Cash community, specifically a fellow called Eric Wall, and you can find those videos in YouTube. Just look up Neo Fudd, like what caused Neo price drop, searches like that, and you'll see some videos about some criticism of the Neo node, that when one collapses, it all collapses, when it wasn't true at all. So that sort of Fudd has come out of these kinds of people, and it's happening all the time. And I think it's pretty gutless that these people, to compete, they have to actually sabotage their competitors. Okay, that's not a good practice for business, is to sabotage your competitors. If your product is good and you want to compete against them, then your product should stand on its own. And sure, if you want to promote it, great, but sabotaging someone else, I think that's a real piece of shit. If you're going to do that. Anyway, these people, there's all these whales and things on the crypto market. If you're new to the crypto market, you may not have a good understanding of how it all works. There's a lot of people that basically can influence the price of a coin and the whole market in general. There's certain people on YouTube who like to spread fear and FUD and FOMO and try to get you to support a coin that they're pumping. And these are classic pump and dumps. They buy the coin early, then they start to talk about it and pump it up. Okay, you got to avoid these sorts of things. Then you have the prophets, like the webbot crackpots and the Bix Weirs and the snippies who talk about psychic work, and they just recently took the Silver Goldman for a bit of a ride with their Amanda stories and all their religious bullshit that they're playing games with, and this community is starting to tear itself apart, and I think that's the problem. Those of us who invested in these things to see them grow, to see them become something, to see if they're going to be worth something, I think are getting a lot more skeptical about whether this market will survive. Sure, certain coins will, but there's a lot of whales, there's a lot of bullshitters, there's a lot of greed, and everyone's trying to get us as regular investors to build their pyramids. Okay? I don't serve pharaohs, and these whales are not pharaohs. Roger Ver, whatever his name is, he's not a pharaoh. Okay? And I don't build pyramids, and you shouldn't build pyramids. Not for these motherfuckers, mate. Okay, we invest in a coin if we like it. Let's see how they'd all survive if all the average people just suddenly dropped the coins, didn't want them anymore. Where would they be then? It'd be a very, very small community of a few millionaires holding some coins, and they'd be trading it with each other, if they'd even be worth anything. Okay, so as investors, we need to realize that we have the power. We have the power to dump if we don't like behavior that these wankers are trying to pull. And when you sabotage another person's company, spreading FUD and lies and all that sort of bullshit, I think you deserve to have a bit of a crash of your own, and I think investors should really pull out of that sort of stuff for a while and say, well, when you start performing better, maybe we'll look at investing, but until then, I'm going to dump that shit. So that's my rant on that. We as regular people in the community who want to look at investments and things, whether it's the crypto community or the real economic community outside, we need to stop building the pyramids for these fucking pharaohs. Okay, the pharaohs are dead. They died a long time ago, and we have to stop as a community, stop building pyramids. All right. Stop building for these fucking pricks at the top who just use you and bleed you dry and take everything for themselves. Okay, greed is not a good thing. The desire to be wealthy is healthy. It's a good ambition. But greed, you have to destroy someone in order to get wealthy when you're greedy. Okay, and you know, one way or another, you have to pay for that. It comes at a price. And the way these guys are doing it in this community, it's getting worse. So I urge everyone to be careful where you tread, what you buy. Now, having said that, let's have a bit of a look at the community. Let's go to, I'll switch over to this. So I've got OMG there because that's where I finished off last time. But go to Bitcoin. Okay. So we're looking on the weekly, and as you can see, it's still going pretty well. Okay. We're still having these moves. It's hit its bottom. It's moving up. Okay. I still believe that Bitcoin is moving upward. It's already in an upward trend. We want to see this big move. Okay. And she's pretty much following this plot that I drew out. Now, I did this in the last video. That was about 2 weeks ago. So I haven't touched anything. Just follow along. You can see where she's kind of moving. You should also use, I have here the stochastic and the RSI running. Okay. Now, they're going to change. I have these on a shorter term. It's normally because I'm looking at 5-minute trades and shorter trade times. So if you're looking at longer trade times, you can change these little values, and you can do that in the settings box. Okay, in there. But anyway, for now, you can see where it's moving, how it's moving, and she's on a bit of a dip. It's looking like it's going to take a little bit more of a downturn again. The MACD, that's on a 12 and 26 day. You know, moving along. They've sort of hit a high point. They're coming around now. That may come down for a second dip, or it may come sort of up a little more and then go down. So you may see the price kind of rise and sit, but I still think it's going to keep cruising along for now. The funny thing is, Bitcoin is currently at 10,700, thereabouts, and everyone's freaking out because they're not sure if it's going to go up or down or whatever. You know, I remember it was only a few months ago when everyone was just jumping out of their pants because it was $10,000. You know, now they're all afraid that it's $10,000, you know. So guys, just relax, take it easy, keep an eye on things, keep watching. Let's go to Ethereum. I'm using the Bitfinex exchange, okay, to get these prices. It's automatic in the value, you can see them up there. So we can see that it's sort of been moving along like this. Again, we're on the weekly, and we've just passed that. It looks like Ethereum's going to have a bit of more of a downturn before it gets better. You know, you can see the signal line sort of coming around. That's a longer term trend, and the other MACD line here coming down for a bigger dip. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take a long dip down. We just have to keep an eye and see where it goes. On the stochastic, it's basically indicating that the stock or the coin has been oversold. So it's sort of coming in for a position where people can buy in a bit more, but it might not really reach a big high here. We have to see where it goes. We might get something like this come out again. So I think it's going to be a little bit slower because we're still moving downward with the MACD there. Just going to have to keep an eye on that. Okay. Still in a bit of a trend here. We have a cross point where the values are, because of the way the market has been moving, it's had its pullback. It's come down to here. You know, so if you wanted to go 1, 2, and then maybe decide whether it's actually starting on a second, well, sorry, a third wave from the second, or, you know, is it moving off track? You know, and it kind of looks like it might be moving downward again. Ethereum does this. It's a very slow, gradual sort of pace that it has. Just going to have to keep an eye on it, and that's kind of the motto for now, is just keep an eye on things, keep watching. Let's have a look at Litecoin. We'll do Litecoin next. Now, Litecoin definitely has started moving off the track. It's not going in its upward trajectory that basically because people like Charlie Lee came out and did a big bullshit spin on their whole product. They led everyone to believe that the big release date for their Litecoin payment plan was and their Light Pay thing was coming out, and the day of its release, they went, oh no, like the morning, they sent out an email, the morning this whole big plan was released, they said, oh look, you can still do your bit payment, but your Litecoin payment, but the credit cards aren't on board. Sorry. And so that's just sent it right off. It's come off the rails. I think Litecoin is in for more of a downturn. Probably the next sort of level might be around here, the 150. We'll just have to wait and see. But it definitely seems like it's come off the tracks at the moment. It's not following that pathway up. Now, something could come out and something big could happen, and it could really bring that price back up, but I don't know what's in the works nearby that would do that. I think Litecoin and Charlie Lee and the way that they've been doing things recently are part of that group I was talking about earlier about the pyramid builders. We are not pyramid builders anymore. These guys are not pharaohs, so don't build their pyramids. If you like the coin, that's great, but when they start pulling all this bullshit on us, walk away, just dump it, and maybe come back another time if you think that they're starting to behave better. Maybe that's something we need to look at doing as a community, is just letting these people know that we're not going to take their bullshit. We're not going to get fucked around, because what they did was wrong. It was a really bad form. They knew, Litecoin knew way ahead of time that these credit card companies were not on board, and to release it the morning of that big announcement, that's why the whole thing just died in the ass, man. Okay, they're bullshitters. They're all bullshitters. They're trying to just make money as best they can, So and they're doing it in a very more and more dishonest way. That's my opinion. You can disagree. That's fine. So anyway, that's Litecoin. Will it recover? It's gonna need a miracle, I think. Something strong at least. Otherwise, we don't know. I really don't know where it's going to go here. It could go down pretty sadly. As far as Neo, let's have a look at Neo. So I don't want to be too long doing this. Neo is kind of having a bit of a rough movement. It was following the trend up. It's kind of skidded off lately because of that FUD that we had that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It was up $140 the other day. You can see 144. Again, weekly charts that I'm looking at here. These are long-term weekly charts. Outlooks to November, October. Excuse me. And given the way that the market's behaving at the moment and the way that some of these pricks are behaving, they're destroying themselves and they're destroying the community by the way that they're behaving against each other, and we're the ones who suffer. So, Neo, however, is trying to recover from this. They've come out and done videos that show that their nodes still work even if one goes down, because that's the point of decentralization. If one has a problem, the others can still continue to carry on. So do your reading into decentralized nodes and things like that, why they are the way they are and the way they're structured, and you'll understand more. Okay, we're in an age of knowledge. You have Google, you have the internet, you have unlimited resources. When I was growing up, I never had any of this sort of resource. You picked up a book, you went to the library. You know what I mean? And you listened to the radio. TV wasn't the best, so they only covered certain things. So we didn't have the access to the amazing information that we have now. It's so use it. Anyway, will this continue to go up? Yes, we could have a turn here at the moment. It's actually kind of hit a pretty low point, but it's consolidating. We may have a turnaround. Got a bit of a bearish hammer sort of occurring here. Just going to have to wait and see what happens. Is it going to allow the price to recover? It's still sitting above the average, which is probably a good thing. It just depends if it's going to turn. So all in all, we might see a bit of an uptrend in the old Neo. So we're just going to have to wait and see, OMG. Let's have a look at OMG. This is where I was before. So as you can see, kind of staying on the tracks. The whole market at the moment was going well. It has moved off its bottom, but now it's really having this sort of turn here. And I've got to tell you guys, I'm really suspicious on everything in the market at the moment, the crypto market. I really have a lot of suspicions about what's going on here. Is this a natural sort of retracement and it's still going down? Look, if that's what it naturally is, then generally it's pretty much still a bearish market, and we're going to have to wait. Has that bearish sort of downtrend ended, and we're still up here, and now there's sort of a lot of uncertainty and doubt as the new year transitions in? That's what it could be. We could have something that'll just pick these all up and move them up. As I said, this is an outlook for the rest of the year. It's a long-term trend look for up to about the last quarter of the year. So we can still see this moving. I drew these in about 2 weeks ago, so we're just going to have to wait and see where they go. Hey, I feel reasonably confident that's where they're going, but like I said, all the FUD and the bullshit that's going on at the moment, the way that these manipulators are playing with the market, especially the bigger coins. It's got me concerned, and I'll just say that. It got me suspicious, got me concerned. There's no reason why this should be sort of just dilly-dallying and going off track. If everyone were to be allowed to buy and sell and trade without all this rubbish going on, I think things would be a lot stronger. But, yeah, guys, look, I mean, you can even see in the stochastic here, it's going to come down, and it's starting to converge. Might get some consolidation here. Just have to wait and see where it goes. It may continue to go down a little bit more and then make a recovery. But when it comes to people like Big Swear in that sand, Litecoin's going to 10,000, and your Webbot's saying it's going to this and that and the other. These guys are full of shit. They can't read a chart. They can't analyze. They just promote, they promo, they push their own shit, they lie, they talk all sorts of rubbish that's never come true. You got to really switch all that shit off, yeah? Anyway, so that's most of the markets there. OMG, let's see what else we got. NEM. Actually, NEM is interesting. I don't hold any NEM at the moment. I actually sold it a little while ago. Basically, when there was a whole lot of FUD going around about where is it gone? Let's do this one. Let's do this one. There was a Japanese exchange that got hacked, and there was about $300 million in NEM tokens that were stolen. They were able to trace them and get them back, as far as I understand. So, however, that's caused a big knock in the price. And if you have a look on the what do we got here? The Fibonacci extensions, we can see that she's moved right down into this sort of 0.7 range. It's coming right down. It's in a bit of a dangerous period, really, I think. Don't know what's going to happen with NEM. Is it a good time to buy? Look, it's cheap as chips. It'd be a great coin. It was a great coin in the past. I think it's still a good coin, but there's something going on there that's really giving it a good kick in the balls. And it's going to have to find a way to recover out of that. May continue down a little bit more, but she's starting to get into a real dangerous zone there of whether it's going to sort of continue on. But if you like NEM, go for it. I'd like to see this recover a little bit and maybe get over the 6.1 before I did anything. But so it's back up to around the 48-cent mark. Look, it could come down and just cruise down, sit down the bottom, and then just take off again. Be surprised. It's a strong coin. It's still in the top. There we are. Let's have a look. Number 13. It's always been hanging around here. So it's a good strong coin, guys. I just don't know what it currently is doing at the moment. We just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's it for now. So I'm going to come back here. So that's sort of how I see things. That's how I call things at the moment. There's a whole lot of fuckstick channels out there. The News Unit, JSNIP4, Webbot, Bix Weir. You got all these other guys coming out knocking things. But there's a lot of good channels out there. There's a lot of good channels talking about some stuff as well in the cryptos. So use your intuition. avoid the bullshit, avoid the lies, the pumpers, the scammers, the stealers, the thieves, the self-imposed pharaohs and whales and whatever they want to call themselves. There's a market. You buy in, you look at something, you think it might do well, it goes great. You got a lot of people getting jealous and they'll sabotage. You really got to be careful here. So then you had that whole sort of little swindle with Silver Gold Man. This woman came out, this Amanda chick came out with a sort of story about how she was treated so badly. To be honest, she sent in an email, and there was a bit of confusion between the two. I don't really know what happened. I don't trust any of them. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, he ended up looking like a fool, and I don't think. The reason he's looked like a fool is because Jason Four and this Amanda woman are now getting together, doing all these singing and all this sort of thing together, and they're all good mates again. So I don't know. Maybe the whole thing was a fishing expedition of some sort, and again, this is the sort of behaviour I'm talking about. When you see people treat each other like this, and they all claim to be Christian, and I'm a good moral person, and I follow psychics, and I follow webbots, and I follow machines, and we're all looking for a key into the future, and rah, 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 and what's the real score, and let's get the best traders, and the traders end up being friggin' wife abusers, and, scammers, and from way back, and, mate, this community it's like a virus, man, and you gotta really insulate yourself, and what's the vaccine? Self-education and wisdom. Okay, look through the bullshit, see it for what it is. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be a pyramid builder. Okay, be an independent person, be a free person. Walk the planet free and dominate. Okay, so that's my message to everybody out there. Please be careful. If you're new to cryptos, please be aware that there's all sorts of things going on that'll try and get you to buy Bitcoin one way or another. There's only certain ways you can get Bitcoin: through an exchange, through banks, and go from there. Okay, so use wisdom, use patience, learn as much as you can. Take your time. There's no rush. Okay, these things will be here for a while, most likely. Another good example is for a good coin, for me, because yes, I do hold it, is ETN. Why? Because they're looking at getting a model that will help people in the third world, in the second world countries who are struggling. They will be able to, the phone miner for ETN is now running. They can now use and start to mine their own coin, and when their local produce providers take on that coin, they can actually buy an exchange. They won't need the banks of South Africa anymore. They won't need the banks of North Africa anymore. They'll become self-reliant, and they'll be able to use ETN or Electronium to start to buy and sell products, mine it on their phone, because most of these people, I've been to Vietnam and some of those places, and they don't have a lot. They got a phone, they probably got a TV, if they're lucky, an old TV, and a motorbike for the whole family to ride on. That's it. That's all they got, and they live off that for their whole lives, man. It's not an easy life for them. Okay, so Electronium is working at helping there. Richard Ellis has developed ETN so it can help these people and for them to become independent of the pharaohs of Egypt, the pharaohs of South Africa, the pharaohs of the West, okay, and the wizards of the West, okay. So really got to look at the way this world's going, find coins that are valuable and that hold value. Don't just buy anything because it goes up and down, okay. It'll go down quicker than it goes up, I can tell you. Anyway, that's it for me. Hopefully this video worked. I'm going to check it before it goes up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.